Max was an old golden retriever with kind eyes and a nose that could sniff out every snack hidden in the house. But more than anything, Max was loyal. Every day, like clockwork, Max would pad across the hallway and sit beside the front door at exactly 3:15 p.m. His tail would wag slowly. His ears would perk up. His eyes would shine with the kind of hope only dogs seem to understand. Because every day at 3:30, the door would swing open, and his boy, Jamie, would burst inside with his backpack slung over one shoulder, cheeks pink from the walk home, and shoes kicked off in the same messy heap by the door. And Max would leap up, barking with joy, circling Jamie in a happy dance, as if they hadn't seen each other in years, even though it had only been a few hours. This was Max's favourite moment of every day, and he never missed it. One spring afternoon, Max did what he always did. He sat by the door. He waited for the jingle of Jamie's backpack. He waited for the giggle, the creak of the doorknob, the smell of after-school snacks. But the door never opened. The house stayed quiet. Max tilted his head. Maybe Jamie was just late. But 3:30 passed, then 4 house. Then the sky began to darken. Max didn't leave the door. That night, Jamie's shoes still sat in their usual place, laces tangled like they always were. Max sniffed them, curled up beside them, and waited. But Jamie didn't come home. In the days that followed, the house filled with whispers and tears. Jamie's parents spoke in hushed voices. Friends brought over food and flowers. No one laughed. The light in the house felt dimmer. Max didn't understand everything, but he understood one thing: something was wrong. Still, every day, Max waited by the door. Sometimes he would nudge Jamie's shoes with his nose, hoping maybe if they were ready, Jamie would come walking through the door again. Sometimes he would bark softly, just in case Jamie was nearby and needed a guide home. But the door stayed closed. Time passed. The trees outside turned from green to gold. The air grew crisp. Leaves crunched under footsteps that weren't Jamie's. Max's muzzle turned whiter. His steps became slower. But still, every day, he waited at 3:15, right by the door, next to Jamie's shoes. Neighbours noticed. Visitors whispered, "He still waits." And Jamie's mum would smile sadly and nod. Every day. One winter morning, something changed. There was a knock on the door. Max didn't leap up like he used to. His legs were stiff now, and his hearing not as sharp. But he felt something, a warmth in the air, a softness in the sound. Jamie's mum opened the door, and there stood a little girl holding a small suitcase and a teddy bear with a missing ear. "This is Ella," said a voice gently. "She's going to be staying for a while." Ella was quiet. She looked at the house with big, careful eyes. Max watched from his spot. He didn't move until Ella saw him. Her face lit up, not with a big smile but with a glimmer of curiosity. She walked slowly toward him, holding out her small hand. "Hi, doggy." Max sniffed her fingers. She smelled like crayons and strawberries. She sat down beside him, resting her tiny hand on his back. Max let out a long, low sigh and leaned gently against her. That night, Ella placed her teddy bear beside Jamie's old shoes and curled up on the couch with Max lying at her feet. In the days that followed, Max still waited at the door. But now Ella waited with him. They didn't always talk. Sometimes they just sat quietly, side by side, looking out the window. But slowly, something in the house began to change. There were giggles again, soft and cautious like spring flowers poking through snow. There were stories at bedtime, warm smells from the kitchen, chalk drawings on the porch, and Max. Max wagged his tail more often, not wildly like before, but gently, with a steady rhythm of comfort. One afternoon, Ella came home from school, her cheeks pink from the walk, and kicked off her shoes, right next to Jamie's. Max, waiting by the door, barked once softly. Ella laughed. "I missed you too." And for the first time in a long time, Jamie's mum smiled with more light in her eyes. That evening, Max curled up in his usual spot beside the shoes. Only now there were two pairs. He rested his head between them, feeling the echoes of old joy and the spark of something new. He had waited every day for the boy who was gone, but in doing so, he was still there for the child who had come. His purpose hadn't ended, it had simply changed.